Things first. Permissionless. Jerry, we were thinking about all coming in Saturday, but you said all you could find was a camper?
Yeah, so Airbnb looks pretty sparse for where downtown is, but we don't have to stay in downtown Austin, obviously. But there's a place which is pretty close to that area where the convention center is. Once again, we don't need to be down there. It's just like then we don't have to move too much the next day. And there's a camper that sleeps three for $80. It looks like hell, but it also would be such a vibe for us to just be in a camper. Because I think, Grant, the seniority, we'd give you the bed, and Aussie and I would be on these like pull out trundle beds. And so I can just only imagine that if the AC went out, we would probably die.
I could see the headlines. 3 crypto enthusiasts suffocate. Investigators believe might be like what not methane. Like what are these people who die in their sleep? Is it methane? Like
Methane,
there's a
yeah.
gas leak,
Methane
like
or propane gas. Yeah.
gas leak or farce or just straight heat. Bodies were not found because no one gave a fuck.
If we die in a trailer, I just hope the title says "The Real Rug Pull," and then it's like 3 crypto bros die.
The ultimate rug pull. I mean that is possible and affordable, and we could all come in Saturday. Aussie's really leaning towards Saturday because
He's trying to escape Canada.
Tristan says got to have the aluminum foiled antenna rocking at the same time.
Yeah, we'll have the aluminum foil antenna, and inside will be 3 of us in a camper with our aluminum foil hats. It will be perfect.
And like tidy whities and a beer. Like, isn't that like an American?
And like, yeah,
boots.
and an old school lawn chair, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And boots.
Let's Americafy Austin when we're in Texas. The story in my head is this is the first time this boy's been to Texas, so we're gonna have to do stuff. Oh,
Wait.
We'll need George Pate there to knight him a Texan. You know.
Wait. So hang tight, Austin. You have never been to Texas?
No.
I knew it. We're taking that country Canadian boy down to the deep.
George Pate says rent an RV and stay at his place. You know what? We should have thought about that from the whole trip because we probably could have saved money and it probably would have been a trip. But like this is your first. Now Austin is different. If you go to the great nation of Texas, and I honestly believe America is too big, and I believe Texas should be its own country.
It already is. Their
No,
mindset
I know
is
it
their
is
own
in
thing.
effect. I know it is in effect, and it should be. But like, I think the country should get divided into 5 different like states. Like the states should liquidate, and it should be into 5 different countries that are just states. And Texas would be its own, like because it's just its own deal. Or Airbnb in the Austin boot, maybe. But like Austin, I don't think is prototypical of Texas. Like I don't think you're gonna. I hope you get like some Texan experiences, but it's the Austin version, which is like cool, but it's not like the fuck I'm in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Austin is kind of like it's the tech hub of Texas.
Everywhere else.
Yeah, and means it's more like a tech hub than it is like Texas.
Oh yeah.
I'm very much aware of that.
Okay, so other than being silly, like are we gonna spring for this RV or should we actually just get a hotel room that night and just get another night?
I don't know. We could also do an Airbnb. We're just not going to be down in that area, which is totally fine. We'll be in a different part of Austin. I'm totally open to that. I think if we do go Saturday night, we should be strategically near a place where we can walk that has good restaurants and that has like stuff to do. I don't want to be out in the burbs just because we're trying to save money.
I agree with that.
So we're not going to have a
$80
car.
place is like near food.
Oh yeah, it's really awkwardly parked somewhere. Like I'll show you guys on a map. It's quite the vibe. I like actually can't believe that someone has an Airbnb out of it. I almost think it's like a scam. You know, it's like one of the Nigerian princes where I just heard some story about some Nigerian prince who apparently sold an airport for 140 million to a country and it didn't exist. Like it's on the level of that scam. Like it is, if this camper were a scam, it's Wonderland.
That is, it's Wonderland. Daniel Sestigala actually owns the RV, so and he sleeps in a tent out back when people rent the RV because it's actually his home. So George Pate says the farm is an hour and 20 minutes from ATX Austin. Some thinks that's a long way, but that's a normal drive. True story. Dallas. So the worst traffic that I have ever been in on the planet is Dallas. Now Vietnam, Hong Kong, or Saigon. is nutty traffic, but it's not bad because like it's shoulder to shoulder, but you can just like walk right through it and it's fine. Driving in Dallas is worse than Atlanta. Atlanta's called close second, but Dallas is horrible. So an hour and a half drive is like across town is normal. Y'all, how Texan is George? Is he like Texican or like what's his thing?
George has a Texas passport.
Texas passport.
It was a joke, Grant.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to process it. I was like, well, so is he from Texas?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Born and raised. Okay. Okay. So he's allowed to say y'all. So y'all definitely need to make it outside of Austin if you can to get some inspiration. Hit a country road. Go to Houston. I'm down. I'd be down with that. We probably don't have time. There's probably no way like that
unless Aussie decides to bring his helicopter. I know he's been on the fence about that, but he may need.
You have a helicopter?
Fuel that up and bring it down.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the number of fuel stops I'd have to make between here and Texas.
Yeah, it'd be like road tripping with a Tesla.
Exactly. We're kind of talking like
every hour
just to refuel. That's too funny. So I'd be down. Should we just make the call? Let's just make the call. Stupid RV, $80. If we get skunked, it will just be a story. We'll try to get a last minute, ungodly expensive ticket downtown. And just no inviting any girls to this RV, please. Like
I don't even want to invite myself. So
I'm going to buy it and just not show up. I'm going to ghost myself.
Oh yeah. I'm going to spend $80 to tell you guys to go on Saturday. I'll see you Sunday. Good luck. I would be worth it $80 to have you guys on WhatsApp. Like, where are you? What's the code for the login? And I'm just like, my flight's delayed.
Just no showing. What a dick. We got to get the tickets though. So should we just make the call Saturday? Let's get in. And then let's make this place our plan A. Even if let's buy the tickets Saturday, let's plan on this place. If it ends up being like a shit stain, let's find something else. I'm open as long as we're near some decent, like we're in Texas. Let's get some barbecues, get some food, and then we'll make it work. But this place is plan A. I say we make the call. We cool?
I'm not cool with the
you guys haven't even this is your idea.
You're the one who suggested this.
No, I said options are sparse. We only have an RV.
Okay. Okay, so you're definitely getting cold feet. So like find us a plan B. That's
cold feet. I cut my feet off from the whatever it is. It's too cold. Not gangrene. What was it?
Hypothermia.
Hypothermia. Thank you. I needed the Canadian
frostbite, bitches.
Frostbite. Hypothermia. Frostbite.
You're from Tundra Land, Aussie. You should know about frostbite.
Aussie, your middle name is Frostbite. Austin Frostbite Rickley.
Oh my god. So okay, so let's find a different plan A then and make this our plan B. And
this is the plan B, and I'm really hoping we don't go that route. I mean, you guys will see. It's such a vibe. I don't even know if it has a shower.
No, vibe is supposed to be cool. Don't ruin it by making trashy trailer trash vibes. Like,
oh, it's not even it. You know what it is? I want a trailer personally because it's just so economical, low carbon footprint. I just don't. If I'm going to travel somewhere, I don't want to go stay in a trailer.
Well, I'm down with whatever, but we're making the call for Saturday, so we're
doing Saturday.
We have to find accommodations.
Yeah, maybe we're finding a park. I don't know.
So I'm in. Get in anytime Saturday. What'd you say, Aussie?
Anytime Saturday.
Park benches. I think my flights are looking somewhere arriving between.
I'm a grown ass man.
Okay.
I have done that. I have done.
We've all found our break. Me, it's this RV that you guys haven't seen how dungy it is. It's not that bad. Grant won't do a park bench. Aussie, what's your non-negotiable here?
It can't be raining. I will. If I'm sleeping on the ground, it can't be raining.
Oh, he meant just if he has to sleep on a park bench, not just in general. Like, Austin's gonna turn around. Oh, it's raining. I'm going.
He's home. Like, I'm going back to Canada. It's raining. Okay. God.
Aussie, the thing I want most from you in Austin is no matter where we go to eat, if you don't do it, I will do this. I'm going to ask that you get a discount because you're a Canadian and your name is Austin. And I guarantee it will work. It will work at many places.
You have to play the kind northern neighbor sort of thing. Like, oh, Hey, do you do discounts for Canadians?
You forgot the A at the end.
I heard this is Texas. Do you guys do discounts for Canadians, eh? And then and then we'll just treat you like your special needs and be like, no, forget that. He gets a discount because his name is Austin. And
His name is Austin, yes.
Okay, so everyone get tickets Saturday anytime, and then we'll find a plan A and just make it work. Let's just make it work.
Yeah.
George Tortorolo is maybe coming in just to basically hang out with us. He said he would come in for like a day or two, and I was like, all right, let's do that. So we'll make sure we organize that accordingly.
Yeah, I would love. He is like a globetrotter, man. This guy, he's surprising. Is he just like low key wealthy from the rock and roll industry and just like is a roadie for crypto now?
I just think he really likes Southwest, so he's got nice flight prices.
Okay. I just got
if he's watching, I want him to chime in and be like, Jared, shut up.
He's like, I got the points. All right, so that's covered, and then we'll triangulate the final resting place for our heads that night, and then we'll just move to the hotel Sunday. That'll be fun, and chill. Maybe we could get some chicken and waffles. You know, oh man, the Southwest burritos in that world, the breakfast burritos with the green chipotle sauce.
It's Air Miles. See, there it is. There it is. Tortorolo. Is George loaded? Maybe he is. I just know he loves Southwest. He loves the Darwinism that exists on Southwest.
I do. I mean, the social Darwinism of like, you could see the idiots like, where do I get in line? And you could see the people who are like nervous, and like then you could see the people who are like, hey, what number you got? The people that won't tolerate people cutting them, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great setup. I'm sure it was a CIA social experiment that, and then they're like, this business model works, you know? So
great. You sound like ex-Twitter. Everything's a psyop.
Yeah, everything's a psyop, man. This show is sponsored by the CIA and psyops, brought to you by Not Crypto Bros.
By CIA and the NSA.
And the NSA. So Utes, where are we at?
Utils. I'm gonna open up OpenSea, and I will tell you. So far, I'm down on my Utes investment, highly down.
By like 1 ETH.
I bought in at 2.3 ETH because I didn't get it off the floor. I got a special Ute, and it is down to 0.85. Oh my gosh! It was at 2 ETH not even 2 weeks ago. DeGods was at 10 ETH 2 weeks ago. DeGods is down to 4.3 Ethereum. We talked about this last episode, and we were kind of being maybe a little hyperbolic. We were looking at stuff. I think we were trying to connect dots that maybe weren't there, but we literally said our NFT's dead. Well, in the last 5 to 7 days, we have seen an explosion, especially focused on D-Labs. I don't know how much I tagged you guys in some stuff on Twitter. I don't know how much stuff you've watched from Frank DeGods, but I personally think in this moment, he's his own worst enemy, and his own very much like transparent communication and direct communication style is not actually helping him right now. I think he should probably step away for 2 weeks, let other people talk about the project, and then come back and just kind of give it a second. The more he talks, the more I see the price go down, even if what I think he says is salient, is well articulated, is things that he should be saying in this tough moment.
Yeah.
I also just think, and Aussie, hopefully we can dive into this once we talk about D-Labs, that you've shared the Michael Burry put 93% of his liquid net worth in shorts. We may be going towards an interesting time in the global economy, in the macro economy.
Self-fulfilling.
Sure. And it could be a 4 month where maybe you see Utes go down to like 0.25. Like it could get really low. And I was going to buy one last night at 1. So I might buy one at 8.85. I do think D-Labs long-term has a nice ecosystem. I think it has enough real people around it to keep things moving forward. So not financial advice. However, if you are looking to get into, I think, a fairly undervalued blue chip project in the D-Labs community, you have DeGods or Utes if you're like, I'm trying to get into NFTs.
I like that we're talking about D-Labs and DeGods so much. For those watching, we're talking about it so much primarily because Jarrett is owning one, and it just gives us a very real thing to talk about. I think we also are talking about it because as what I would consider one of the few remaining blue chip projects, to deconstruct it, is it indicative of the entire market? No, but large swaths of the market, yes. Because if we can look and analyze and understand something from the state of D Labs, the state of DeGods, the state of Utes, and then we compare and contrast that to other projects, like I think we can learn a lot. So I
Yeah.
watched the video you sent, and I had mixed feelings. On the one hand, I thought, good for this guy. He looks good. He looks like targeted towards his target audience. He had outlined his thing, and he was organized in his thinking.
Yeah.
If I saw a Doodles founder, let's just say Pharrell, I don't know who else actually is behind Doodles, and I should. Not off the top of my head. And they did something like that, I would also respect, hey, we're getting some heat, but here's where we're at. And there was some honesty. Hey, this is a downgrade, not an upgrade. And I think they overplayed the downgrade pitch, because I think there was an internalization that said, you know what we could do? I still believe in what we're doing, but everyone's fudding us. So let's just call it the downgrade, and then it's going to be gravy. But I don't think they delivered the punchline well. It wasn't sarcastic enough, or it wasn't, on brand enough. It was almost for real downgrade. And I think that was like feeding the FUD narrative. So my takeaway was mad respect. Go ahead, Aussie.
That could be a really good strategy. Let's think about this. They're fudding the bag so much that they're in the talk. They're almost fudding their own bag. Guess what? Sales are through the roof on
the volume.
Right now. The volume of sales on Utes is through the roof right now. If you look at the activity they've done over 747 ETH in activity in the last 7 days, which is a 239% increase. Think about this. They get about 3%, a little over 3% in creator fees. You're talking a significant boost to their treasury right there.
In a 24-hour period, or 737 ETH total
in the last 7 days.
Okay, got it.
So they've done somewhere around 24, 25 ETH in additional income, which, that's just on Utes.
For the size of their team and their apparent lifestyle, that's not that much, but to a brand that has been maybe hurting or stalling, that's helpful. I mean, it's not nothing.
That's, you're talking like 50 grand at a 2,000 ETH, $2,000 ETH. And if you think about the fact that is just on Utes, that's not on DeGods. I don't know what DeGods volume's at, but you are generating, there is some income generation from getting people that are selling and fudding out. And essentially, you can argue that it's strengthening their community. The people that really believe in them, that aren't going to complain because something's like off schedule or whatever. The people that are going to stick around through that and aren't going to kind of raise their head, that they can argue that that's the people that they want anyways. And so they're shaking out kind of non-believers, people that aren't maybe going to stick around for the long term, and going to take advantage of it.
Could be. I'll tell you the downside to his pitch, though. It was revealed on how young and immature he is. And meaning I saw a learning curve compared to his presentations in the past, where it was like, bro, and it was definitely kind of like the rebellion. This did seem like an organized young man who had a desire to truly do something with the program, with the brand. And he was organized. But I was watching for like context clues, linguistic clues, body language clues. And I'm watching him and going, bro, you do not have the experience. You do not have the experience to pull up. Go ahead, Jarrett.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that came across, was just kind of like, and I've been around young founders in the last 10 years. So even 10 years ago when I was 26, like being around 21 and 22-year-olds who have these ideas, their charisma, their passion is just contagious. And a
Yeah.
lot of times they're brilliant. So they've even figured out other things that maybe I didn't or other people didn't at their age. And so you put even them on a higher pedestal. And clearly Frank's ability to communicate things is super high. And he totally, throughout that conversation, and he was on a space that I listened to for about 2 or 3 hours. He said many times, this is how the old Frank would approach this, whatever it was, right? But this is how now I'm approaching it. And he really basically was showing his evolution and his gap in evolution. You know, like this is where I started, this is where I am now. And I thought that was well done to literally call out, I'm trying to grow here. But it also really showed that, like, his reaction to having something not great versus 3 months ago to his reaction towards something not great now, if it has gone from exactly as you said, Grant, yo, bro, you just got to get on board and suck it up. We're all here forever, to, yeah, this is not what we wanted, but we're trying to iterate quickly and we hope to have the best solution for everyone, is like a lot for someone to take on, right? It's not, for example, all right, I may have lost you with that, but I'm trying to get to the analogy of like if I'm following someone who's leading,
Yes.
I don't want to be watching them go from freshman team to starting on varsity.
Yeah.
That's not good if I'm already consistently on JV, because I know I could probably play on varsity more consistently than this person has if they've been on freshman. And that is kind of what it exposed me. It was like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, I think Frank is still going to lead troops and I think he's going to push forward. But I think that, like I said, I think he needs to take 2 weeks and take a walk and just really think about stuff, because the funniest part of a joke, and this is why people go to Comedy Sellers, is that they're going to talk about things that you don't talk about. They're going to say stuff and it's going to be really funny because it's true. It may make you uncomfortable because it's true. So when he kept saying downgrade, 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 I agree. I don't think he said it enough. I don't think he went like way too far. I think people literally just thought it was a downgrade. They were like, oh, I'm going to be able to upgrade my Ute or my DeGod in this case, and it's going to be cool. And then when he says it's a downgrade, like, oh, so it's an upgrade, but it's not good, or it's an upgrade, but it's not what they thought it was. Anyways, I just think it's like, I have no problem. And Allison says that's brilliant. So important to keep showing where we are all growing. It's needed to help people join the journey of change. Like I said, I think it's great that he's growing. I think that he's going to be better for what's happening now in a year. But I'm on JV and I'm a consistent player, and I'm watching this kid who's of a freshman age now jump up to be a varsity, and I've watched that happen. It would make me feel uncomfortable. You want to be led by people that inherently know something or can do something that you can't do, and therefore you're okay with acquiescing to that power. And Frank is still there, but I think he's starting to show almost too much vulnerability in his ability to lead. I guess is where I want to say, not in his ability to tap into his emotions at such a young age, his ability to be able to share the process. Those are vulnerabilities too, but it's also very obvious that, like, obviously this is one of the biggest things he's ever done.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's almost like he's letting go of the grasp of like, oh, if I let go, am I actually going to fall type thing.
Well, and this is what Allison's saying here. I agree with. It's so important to keep showing we're all growing. That was the double-edged sword, Allison. I did agree and appreciate his authenticity. But if someone asked me, am I confident in the future of D-Labs under this person? I said, oh, no, this person was weak. So, like, Elon often brings in some realism. Hey, we're getting rid of the Cybertruck. It's not working. Okay, great. Hey, we're ditching the Falcon 9. It's not going to get us to Mars like I thought. But the next sentence fucking matters. The next sentence comes out and it's like, oh, we're building the Starship. Don't you question that. Oh, we'll work on the next iteration of the Cybertruck. Don't you worry about that. There's a confidence that shows vision. Now, it's a different style than, say, for example, Jobs. And Jobs was matter of fact, like, hi, guys, this is what we're putting in your pocket. Boom. And it's like, okay, if you're going to take time to be authentic, that was the other thing. You could see him, and again, I appreciate this about him, wearing his evolutionary journey on his sleeve real time. That's building in the open. I fully agree. But I do wonder, and maybe we can talk about this with Allison on her Twitter space. Everyone check Allison out. She's got an awesome Twitter space we're all going to be doing together next week, I think, or later.
On
And
Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be talking about accessibility. And by accessibility, Allison means like, are we Web3 enthusiasts making this accessible to people? And what I saw was someone living like crypto ethos, community ethos, and let's just be real, man. Let's be authentic, and this is where it's at, and maybe this and maybe that, and I'm just like emotionally like cool and evolving, and let's give grace. It's like, okay, what the F with my investments, bro? Like, tell me some certainty. We come to leaders for certainty. We come to leaders for certainty, even if they have to make that up. And so this is an interesting experiment to watch because crypto, this is also one of the more visible, and he is putting himself out there. So I have to give him credit for that. Yeah. I just want to see an evolution towards certainty. And I think that we would see that price go back up. Go ahead, Jared, or whoever.
The one thing that I think is the reason why I'm probably going to get another Ute, lower my DCA into the project, and I just still believe it's going to be fine. Because honestly, even having bad press is still press, and people are talking about
Aussie's
this.
Point,
There's a reason why when turbulence happens on an airplane, I'm not worried. And it's the same reason why when I went skydiving, I was not worried at all. Because I had somebody else who had done it before, way more in control. And if they mess up, guess what? They die. Right? Yeah. So here's the thing. I am going on this same philosophy with Frank. Frank is 24, 25. He's Aussie's age. He loves Web3. He loves crypto. He loves NFTs.
Yeah.
He knows if he F's up big time, not like the price going down, like just really messes up, he's never coming back in this space. The next bull run, you can invest in it as an investor. No one's going to want to touch you.
Agreed.
That's just the way that this works. Yeah. Everyone, when you mess with someone's money, they all of a sudden have an elephant memory. Oh, they're going to remember that burn. They're just not going to want to play in the sandbox again. They may not ask you back for the money. They may not want to talk to you again, but they're definitely never going to collaborate with you again. Oh, yeah. And if they do, they're going to have guardrails on it, and it's going to be a situation you don't want to play with, right? So the story in my head I was thinking about the other day is that he knows this, his team knows this, and for that, they will treat this like the most important project they've ever created because it kind of is. If he messes up big time, like other people have in the space, which once again, I don't believe he's going to do, he is taking the plane down. So there's turbulence right now. I see Frank. I think he's being Frank. Cool. I'm not worried. I seriously am not worried. People are like, oh, because like my thing's gone down 60, 70%. Okay. If you're not ready for 60 or 70% in this racket, dude, you're swimming in the wrong lane. Seriously. You know, and I think that that's where it also exposes, and I was talking to B Chills about this, who's one of the biggest members in Utes and DeGods. We were talking last night, and I was like, the biggest thing this exposes is all the paper hands and all the people who are in this for the wrong reasons. And if you're in this just to make money, it's the wrong reason. Seriously. Because
let's look at it. Only 3% of Utes are listed.
Yeah. And if you are in it for money, that's fine, because part of my play with Utes is money. But my bigger play is I get exposure to 25,000. I know there's 25,000 NFTs. There's about 20,000 holders, maybe 20,000 holders with my podcast with Not Crypto Bros.
True.
Do you know how much money that is in marketing? It's pennies on the dollar. I get to like meet other people that are in this space in real time at events that I get to collaborate with. Now, I don't think that is always the sexiest thing in utility for people, but if you're creating and you're building something and you're trying to grow your own network so you can continue to influence the space, it's tough to put a price on it. And a lot of people are just buying into it as an investment. And if it's just an investment, it's never going to work. That's it.
Well, I don't know, because I think a lot of founders, and maybe not D Labs, maybe not Frank and team, I think a lot of projects have forced users to only think about it in terms of an asset. And if we could even get rid of phase 1 and phase 2 of NFT promises of what was going on with the NFT purchase, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, roadmap hell, and no one delivers. And it's like, okay, got it. now at least I got to fall back on, I should at least hype this community to drive up my price and at least get something out of it, because everything else I was promised is not there. D-Labs is apparently working on community, and I do want to bring a screen up of the Utes page, and this is just the Utes page, and it's to their credit that they have such a, here we go, let's pull this up, boom. They have this whole club section of their site. And I was flipping through this, and there's some interesting clubs. The Good Design Club, a Utes community promoting the application of good designs, principles of Dieter Rams. And as a designer, I'm very familiar with the creative designer of who is Dieter Rams. And there's kind of something for everyone here, right? Like there's a lot of interesting clubs. There's a club in here that I was looking at for artists, builders, and entrepreneurs who love to surf. That's very niche, right? That's very specific. And then, there's a lot going on here. So to their credit, they are trying to build community. But here's my vibe, and I said this to Aussie before we got off camera. Man, there's a lot of good topics, but it's not really my flavor. So if I'm looking at it and it still feels hypey. It still feels like it's 20-somethings trying, hey, those who believe in building fat stacks. And it's like, okay, child, like I hear you, but like what are we really doing and contributing to the world? What I don't see anything in here is inspiration. I don't see anything of a motivational or inspirational motive. It's a money motive, a side hustle motive, a hotness motive. And it's like, okay, I get it, but where's the fucking mission? And so for me, it feels very, it's just not my community because it still feels very childish. But if I'm in their age bracket, if I'm in their generation holding a Ute, I see they are doing a lot. But I am questioning if they can even deliver community. You've got a show. I think you fit, Jarrett, right in this community with your brand, your ambiance. You're a little bit older than some of them, it seems. But like you do have really good juice to offer. I don't feel like I'm looking going, I want to own a Ute, but I know if I buy a Ute right now, it's mostly for an investment play because they're not offering me much more. Doodles feels different, and here's why I like Doodles. It does feel like an investment. And I love their mission. And they're delivering on a roadmap. And it's pretty integrated for me. Go ahead.
Yeah. What's Doodles at? I'm gonna look right now. It's 1.43. Yeah, 1.43 is the floor.
And I think it's been, look at the activity, but I think it's been hovering there for a while.
I agree. I think it's been there for a couple of weeks, if I can remember.
I'm pulling it up right now.
All three of us are we're total tools. We're totally pulling this up.
Allison says, I'll read that while we pull this up. Allison says, I agree. We need to keep showing we are learning, but I'm not convinced the 12-minute video showed authenticity. I feel someone told him to say, sorry, we haven't learned in our learning. Going out on a limb here, I think it was marketing and he's got people talking about them. Yeah, I think the whole thing's a marketing. The other thing that's changed too with X is that if you get a lot of impressions, you get paid. They're giving you rev share. So now the incentive for him to drop this video, he made like $18,000 last month or something. He talked about that on his space. And, I've had multiple people talk to me in DMs recently asking me, what stuff that they think they should create just so they can get more impressions. And I really think at the bottom of art, at the base of art, and Grant, you're an artist, so I want you to pipe in here.
Listen.
People create art that makes them genuinely happy. That is it. That is the best art, I think. Whatever that looks like. They're not creating it there's not even 1% they're doing it for anyone else. I'm about to drop a podcast I did today. I did that for no one else. I found it to be interesting. I was thinking about it. I was like, all right, here are the 4 reasons why people adopt crypto. Done.
Yeah.
I'm editing it. It will be out tomorrow morning. I don't care if people listen to it because I love it. And I think there was a music artist who said this. He said, make art that you really, 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 really love. And eventually your people will find you.
Yeah.
But the problem is you have to do it for so long. It's going to take those people a long time to find you.
Yeah.
And this is the 10,000 iterations idea, right? So I feel the same, Allison, going back to your comment. It almost felt forced. And I do think that there is insane incentive now, especially with X. I still call it Twitter in my head.
Same.
With the X app, there's insane incentive now to just create things that's going to cause buzz. And I am not, that's one part of the app and the entire ecosystem I'm not really into, because there are things that like there are cool monkey videos, where like a monkey literally is like throwing poo at somebody in a zoo, and then that gets like 1 billion likes. So someone's gonna make money off that. That's great. I'm glad someone's getting their bag on the end of that. But I'm looking for information that's gonna like add some value to my life, not just be entertainment and like have, small dopamine hits. So anyway.
Yeah, and so I just brought this up and I want to share it with the world because this is, and LinkedIn user just says, thumbs up. For some reason, LinkedIn user, your face didn't come through, so tell us who you are. So
Yeah,
they're
and
loving what you're saying there, Jarrett. So this right here, that's an impact statement. Coloring the world with joy. I jump over to DeGods and I go, I guess there is art. You're totally right. Art is for the artist's sake, and if a community loves it, awesome. And honestly, if Frank would have gotten on and said, hey, guys, listen, okay, we're not delivering entirely on season 3 like we said, but remember, we're here for the effing art. We're DeGods, guys. And he stuck to his brand and his style. Vanessa Gutierrez, there she is. Sorry, your name didn't come through. You know Vanessa, right?
oh yeah, we'll definitely be hanging out with her down in Permissionless, which is great.
Super fun, very cool. And so, like when I look at DeGods, however, I don't see any purpose, and maybe that's the art. That's my style of art. Is I like projects that are trying to make an impact, and that could very well be. And DeGods could say, "Listen, we're art. We love our own art. So f off if you're going to complain that this is a downgrade. Fine, we'll call it the freaking downgrade for you little paper hands." If he had gone there, I think I might have had more respect than the apologetic approach. Go ahead, Aussie. What's your thought?
See, I guess I feel like the evolution is probably better because if we're thinking about the space and how it's maturing, think about NFTs. Our NFTs in general are not performing nearly as well. Utility NFTs that are like backed by investments, like that are fractionalizing real world assets, NFTs that are actually doing something other than offering community are actually NFTs that are sticking around. I talked to you guys about that NFT project that's mining Bitcoin. They're setting up a huge mining facility in Paraguay. They minted out, and then they ended up having one of their partners not mint out all of their portion. So they've been slowly dropping more mints. They've been dropping them in 100 NFT batches. I think they've dropped about like 300, and every single one of those NFT batches is being gobbled up in mere seconds because people are seeing the utility, and there's not a single one of them listed for sale because people are like, they know what they're getting and the project's delivering. They're getting ready to get, like, their miners are about to go online and start testing this week. And I know there's another mining project that was created 6+ months ago, and there are very, very few NFTs from that project that are listed for sale. Almost none, because guess what? They're delivering. And so maybe this is kind of what we're seeing, is that a lot of the projects that are just art or community or utility, those are what are dying off. And that's why we're seeing these quote unquote blue chips disappear. And I think Frank is maybe realizing that, and that's why he was going the apologetic route, because guess what? He knows that he's going to have to be professional and pick up something really cool and need some time so that he actually has a chance for DeGods and D-Labs to continue in the next bull run, because I think art NFTs will be dead in the next bull run if they don't bring more than just the art.
I fully agree, and I think the next level up from there was he needs to say, we're bringing on a COO, and he's a gray hair, and he or she is a gray hair, and they've been experienced in this, that, or the other. I will stay creative director. We're going to stay community management. I'm still the CEO. I don't care. Show me that you're staffing up, because the ultimate evidence of wisdom is that you don't know it all and you're not the guy. I mean, I remember when Zuck was faced with whether or not he would continue or hand off Facebook. And it was a gut-wrenching public process of, am I going to learn from Jack? He started mentoring publicly under Jack Welch and just deciding, how am I going to show credibility that I'm not just this college app? We're already a $1 billion company, but like, am I going to drive this thing into the ground or not? I remember I bought it on the open for $30, Facebook. I remember it. And so I was watching it pretty closely. I want to see a level of maturity that says, guys, I do believe in this project, so I'm staying on a CEO. I'm staying on a chief creative officer, but we're bringing on and we're going to start job hunting for a COO or CEO who gets who we are and will bring in the business side of this while we make sure that we have, what is dead may never die. You remember that? Remember that feeling? What is dead may never die. And now they're going to downgrade to the grand softening of DeGods. And it's like, I get it, but like, it's not even wholehearted. It's like a half-hearted attempt at making their art more approachable for young people. I guess that's great, but do you still love your artwork? Do you still love that culture? And it feels like it's in limbo. Maybe 0.85 floor on Utes is a deal. I told Aussie before we came on, I can't tell now if it's a deal or if it's a death knell. And I'm not sure. I told myself, once it gets under 1, I'll buy one up. And I'm like, totally cool. But now I'm like, I'm just not sold, friends. Like, I don't know. But it could now just be down to maybe not paper hands versus diamond hands. Maybe it's just down to those who actually like the art and like the vibe. I don't know if I call it paper hands. I don't think I would give anyone crap for paper hands at this point. Like, isn't there a limit to when people get paper hands? Like how long do you have to hold so that when you do let go, you're not called paper hands? Like what's the length of time?
I mean, it's the timing. It's not a length of time. If you sell at the top and you're in profit, that's okay.
Is
I think
it?
when, yeah.
You wouldn't be called paper hands if you held it for a month and then sold it at the top. That's not paper hands. Interesting.
I think it changes. I mean, I think it changes. I think paper hands is when you are freaking paper hands and diamond hands, right? The reason why they call it diamond hands is because good things happen under pressure.
Yeah.
These happen in pressure moments. And the biggest pressure moment is probably selling when you're down and at a loss because you're worried it's going to continue to go down more. So I think it's more about down market attitudes and like behaviors than it is about anything else. But I don't know. I mean, if you talk to the Bitcoin community, you're not a maxi unless you like forget your seed phrase, and you give it back to the world, right? So I don't know. I don't buy anything that I'm not willing to like, with the Ute. I said I'm holding this to the summer of 2025, minimally, just to see what happens. You have to let these things have a little breath, Web3 X and the entire ecosystem on crypto on the X app. It's just so crazy and so toxic because everyone is there with the highest of time preferences. They want to have a Lambo tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I just think it's ridiculous. I think it's very undervalued. I'm going to be picking up another one. I put my money where my mouth is. I got one at 2.3, very open about the prices. I think it's been quite the journey. And, we're just going to see what happens. This is the thing though. When blood is in the streets, that's when you pick up things. If you're in a real estate, do it. If you're in an NFTs, do it. You're in Bitcoin, do
classes.
it. I agree, but I'm saying like in these moments is where the opportunity lies.
I do agree with that. There are opportunities, and the question though, the thing about the NFT world, and maybe cryptocurrencies is a bit different. Like Bitcoin and Ethereum is probably a bit different from cryptocurrencies, and cryptocurrencies writ large are probably different than NFT projects, but. Yes, in principle, but does that principle apply here? And
that's a question we need to dive into in the last 16 minutes because I'm not sure. I hear what you're saying. You're saying, hey, when you have an S&P and you can look at 60, 70, 80 years or whatever it is, and you can see the dips, you say, I think it's going to go up again. That's okay, right? There's a debt cycle, right? We're in a top, we're in this, we're in that. Real estate. It's we can see it goes from the bottom left corner to the top right. Okay. Is that the same for NFTs? That's a really good question. And the one thing, if I had to sit on the other side of the fence and take shots at DeGods, especially Utes, they've now started on Solana, they've gone to Polygon, and now they're going to go to Ethereum.
Yeah.
That is a lack of foresight. They're doing that in under a year. That is a lack of foresight. You don't buy a Mustang if you want an F-150 and then you're going to turn that into an SUV. You kind of know what you want out of the future and you invest accordingly. So that to me is something that kind of is as a whole I would poke in the argument, because that to me shows that they don't know what the frick they're doing. You should always start your NFT, I think, due to the network effect and ease of people having this wallet in this space, on Ethereum.
Well, and like context would change. I tend to agree with you right in this moment. But like, again, from his video, if he came in and said, oh, we made mistakes, but we knew who we were. And at the time, all we knew was Solana. Then we thought, well, here's why we're going to Polygon. It's cheaper for our people. There could be a higher liquidity and this, that, or the other. And if there was a communication of clarity and certainty at every one of these pivots, I mean, Elon went and said, we're doing the Falcon 1. That's getting us to Mars. Oh, no, we're not. I'm going to the Falcon 2. This could be a parallel to Solana, to Polygon, to ETH. And well, that's not going to cut it. The Starship's got to cut it. That's fine. Like, people will roll with you if you are leading and leading from a position of clarity. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Elon example is a great one with the Falcon evolution. The thing there, though, is we've never really had a private company that gets to Mars, right? So, like, he didn't really have a roadmap. He was going. We have a shit ton of NFT projects already on Ethereum. And if from the jump they wanted to make this the varsity and JV of all NFTs, they should have just started on Ethereum. Straight up. That's my opinion.
So I'm going to disagree with that, because at one point, NFTs on Ethereum were dying. At the peak of the market,
it's not wrong.
NFTs on Ethereum were dying because gas fees were absolutely ridiculous.
Not wrong.
You were paying
I don't think they were dying. I don't think they were dying. I think dying is an interesting word. Were they losing momentum? Maybe. Dying is tough, though.
Like, you were not seeing NFT projects that were launching on ETH were not minting out, whereas NFT projects on Solana or Polygon were minting out because no one wanted to pay $100 of gas fees for a $100 NFT. And
interesting.
And so,
see, I push back on this. I think if the NFT is worth it, people would pay. They'd pay the juice. I mean, the other side came out and people were paying $3,000 for it. Like, if it's worth it, people will pay for it.
I just don't think. I think the public is at a certain time. I agree. I think people now are looking at themselves in the mirror and being a little more honest and going, I don't know what the fuck is actually worth it out here. Like,
well, this gets back to your point that because there are blood in the streets, is it acceptable to apply that philosophical approach in investment to what's happening now? They're down so much. They're down 65% in the last 4 weeks. Utes is. DeGods is down roughly the same. Is it now the time to buy, or is it a time to wait?
And what's weird about that is this. And Aussie, maybe you would agree or disagree with this. The thing that's blowing my mind right now about the world of NFTs is the cry of decentralization. I can go look at a stock on the publicly traded system. And even, let's make it as young as Utes or DeGods. I could go find that stock, but because it's regulated and publicly traded, I can look at minimum the fundamentals.
Right, to value invest it.
To value invest it, and to ask myself, well, there's blood in the streets. Is this a deal? Do the hard assets even match because they have to report? I cannot do any of that in this decentralized situation. In fact, decentralization in this case is a bug, not a feature, because I can't tell what's their housing expense. Are they filing publicly on the blockchain how they're managing the entity? Is there even an entity? Like, what is going on? And so maybe they do internal stuff. Maybe if I held a DeGod, maybe in the Discord, there's like transparency. What's your thought there?
Aussie, you want to go?
No, go ahead. If you've got something, go.
Yes. So my thought is, I think you're 100% right. You can't look at like But you can also see something that you can't see for the stock, I think. Like you can look at the on-chain data. You can be like, okay, there's only 3% selling.
I have
We
all
can
that with
establish
TradFi. You have the spread books. You have all the exchanges. You have all of that on TradFi.
okay. What you don't have in this specific, this is specific, not TradFi or DeFi, is that season 3 went not as planned for DeGods, and that has affected Utes. Nothing has happened to Utes yet. We haven't even seen what Utes season 2 looks like, but because it's part of the studio, it's gotten negative press and
That's
it
a good
bumped
point.
down.
That's
So that's why I also find it's been
there's still a
super
newsworthy
undervalued.
event and potential, and so its
Yeah,
price has brought down by DeGods. So there could be some hidden soon intrinsic value, and they knock the Utes push out of the park, and it goes smoothly. It looks sexy. People love it, and it bops from 8.8.
yeah, because right now Utes' value is being punished because it's tied to D
I can see
Labs,
that.
which is with DeGods. But nothing intrinsically has changed for that particular project from now to when it was at 2 ETH. So now it's at 0.85 ETH. I'm like, okay, the only thing that's changed is people mindset around it and the FUD. That's it. So that's why I think it's super
I could see
undervalued.
that. I could see that. That's a fair argument. Yeah. But I think broader, outside of D Labs, I think that the reason I loved us diving into it is I still think it confirms my concerns that I hear from everyday people. And that is kind of like the onboarding thing. Like, do we even need to why don't we just use Coinbase? What is the big deal? And to those of us who love the principles of, Bitcoin Standard or crypto, we're like, well, it's not really decentralized and you don't own your keys. And they're like, I don't care. And so I'm wondering if the market at large of NFTs and users are going, can someone make an argument for a pain I'm experiencing? Is there like the only pain that a good project has right now is FOMO and investments? Even Doodles. I'm sitting here thinking of Doodles and I'm like, I love what's going on there. If I buy into Doodles, what is the value exchange? I am participating in this global mission of painting the world with joy, is what they kind of say there. I love that. So I'm funding that. I might be a part of a community, but like I have to buy those new fancy Crocs. I'd have to buy them anyway. And so like I think I would be dishonest to say, well, no, it's a speculative investment. Therefore, it is just an investment, and maybe there's community components as well. But I don't think these tribes are forming nearly as strongly as we wish they would.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't think that they actually even exist because a tribe or a community isn't real if it's based on a financial thing. It's like the three of us, we're hanging out and all of a sudden Aussie and I lose our jobs, right? Are you just not going to hang out with us, Grant, because we're unemployed? Because our financial standing in our relationship has changed? We may not go out to the same restaurants anymore. We may not go out to a restaurant at all.
Yeah.
But we're still going to hang out because we still add value to one another.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, at the fundamental. That's why, like, even if this goes down and I lose this investment, like, I don't care because I think that there are other things that I'm getting from it that it's a total pay to play situation, And I think an NFT is just a membership. It's like the gym. Why do I not mind paying for the gym? Because I get a lot of value out of it. If you think to Netflix, why do people pay $12 a month? Because the amount of joy that they get from that entertainment is worth $12 a month. But if you're going to pay whatever and then not get anything out of it because you're only seeing it as investment, that's why you leave. So I just think people's personal investment strategies are misaligned with the reality of NFTs. 99% of NFTs are not going to work. That's it. Full stop.
Yeah.
So knowing that going in, you have to go there for another reason.
Well,
you have to go there for another
reason. I actually think that responsibility. So whether I buy from Apple or not, it's my responsibility to know about Apple. It's their responsibility to communicate what I should know about Apple. And
sure, that's great.
And so I don't think it's the responsibility of the buyer of an NFT to go in there with a priority on community and a secondary focus on community or a secondary focus on investments. That is not the responsibility. of me. That is the responsibility of the people running the project to articulate that's what we're doing and then to deliver it. That's why I really lean towards Doodles, because it's signaling this is who we are. DeGods is probably in a transition of signaling who we are. And I'm not really sure who they are. In fact, they look like insecure Gen Alphas who are just now coming into the workplace. And I don't want to align with that level of insecurity.
Gen Z.
Are they Gen Z? Okay, yeah, Gen Z. I'm sorry, yes. Gen Z. Now, if he's on a personal development journey, hey, we're using DeGods. We love our art. This is who we are. When you invest in this community, here's the impact we're making in the world. We're doing crazy ass cutting edge art. That could be. So I will buy into any community narrative. I'm just asking for one. I'm asking for one.
I actually think that they do have a community narrative. I actually have heard Frank multiple times say, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to create an online internet global community of all these people who are creators, builders, blah, 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 blah. And it would be also really great if that moves forward, because then we'll all have some extra money. That's cool too. That's not a bad thing. I've heard him say that in as many words. Okay. So the thing is the second part of what you said. It's not just communicating the message. It's making sure you can pull up and, put up and shut up, right?
Deliver.
Deliver on. And I think that they're actually probably doing a good job with that. But once again, I go back to, I think there's probably a lot of people in the community that are only there for the price. So the second all their friends are unemployed, they leave the house party. They're like, oh, you guys are losers, and that is inherently not a community. It's a fake community. That's like literally a fraternity, right? Well, we're only paying to be here. And I was in a fraternity, and I still keep in touch with many of those people, but 80-90% of them I don't, because just because we all paid to be in this thing doesn't mean that we're going to be boys for life. Like, you can't buy brotherhood, you can't buy sisterhood, you can't buy community. It just doesn't work like that.
Jackie and I were talking about this the other day. What we're seeing, she gave the example of her old local newspaper, and there was community around this newspaper. It's in print, and
this is a great episode, by the way. This is on Biddo on Tuesday or Monday.
It was yesterday's show on our building.
Yeah, it was great episode.
And she brought up a killer point here about this. And Aussie, the cliff notes, the short version is, she worked in a newspaper. They did this, and then there was the great digitization, and they went by hook or crook to get their community to do digital, and they had successfully built an IRL community. And then we were speculating a little bit on digital communities that are digital first and then go offline, and we need to get better at that. And then listening to your community, do you even want to go offline, or vice versa? So the newspaper, they were trying to take their community somewhere that the community didn't want to go. The community wasn't interested in the medium of digital, and very few newspapers are. There is like the medium. Seth Godin, the marketer, has a great phrase: "The medium is the message." And that in the newspaper's case, that's very true. But Jerry, you're talking about NFTs. There is a grand hope, and I'm sure it has already taken with DeGods, D-Labs, and some of these communities that they started digital and took it offline. But I got to be honest. I'm 43. I don't mind partying and staying up late. But this, when we went to NFT NYC, every communication about community was the degenerate all-night clubbing, and I don't build community that way. And when I read some of the community groups on DeGods, maybe I am reading the room right. Maybe they are doing community right. It's just not my community.
So once again, that's on Utes. You were seeing that on
correct.
Utes.
You're correct.
Utes may have a different.
You're correct.
They may have a different ethos, and I have not honestly looked at the DeGods pretty too long. But Grant, I think you're spot on, and I do hope. This is my hope. I hope for the next NFT NYC, there are NFT communities that have events during the day.
Yeah.
And I know that this already exists, but I'm talking a blue chip, right? A blue chip that says, hey, you know what? We're going to meet in Bryant Park and we're going to do yoga. It's free. And then if you come to that, everyone gets a smoothie over at this bougie smoothie place. And then after that, we're actually all going to go to the Statue of Liberty. Some people have never seen it. If you have, that's cool. You should come along. Take the ferry over, get to talk to new people. That's a cool thing to do. And then when we're done with that, we're going to go to this restaurant. It's all paid for. And then when we're done with that, we're going to go to the High Line. There's the day. Cop in whenever you want to do that. And, let's get that. Says, yes. The Hugs is doing this. And I want to also put out there that more than blockchain. Everything I've just told you is what I'm doing in March in 2025. Sorry, in 2025, summer of 2025 in Colombia. I'm having everyone who's been a guest on More Than Blockchain. Aussie, if you haven't been a guest, you'll still be coming. I'll pay for you. It's fine. I'm paying for everything. And we're just going to spend time together and just chill and just have cool events. And they're not based around drinking and clubbing. That to me is cool.
Not that I'm against intimacy, but yes, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Aussie.
I think all of this is really cool. And even though we're technically almost at time, you brought up Michael Burry. And what I sent you guys about Michael Burry.
Go there. Please go. Please.
I want to take us there because I feel like if we don't go there, we might be doing everybody that's listening a bit of a disservice, because we talked about whether we're going with Utes, we're catching a falling knife. And the question is whether you're catching a falling knife on everything right now, because Michael Burry, who famously shorted the 2008 crash and has called two of the last two recessions, has put 93% of his liquid wealth in shorts on both the S&P and on the NASDAQ.
Do we know the timeline on those shorts?
Yes.
Sorry, Grant.
No, go ahead.
We don't have an expiry date on his puts, unfortunately.
Okay. Because that would be phenomenal to know.
Yeah.
Because you're right. If you're looking at a Ute, are you catching a falling knife in the sense that Ethereum could go down to 1,200? Who knows? And the Ute price could also reflect that, right? Like it could get crazy.
So question on this. I heard anecdotally that this was not exactly how Michael Burry's position is actually set up. It was more anecdotal than literal. To our knowledge, this is a literal short with 90% of his wealth?
It's he's using puts, apparently. He's putting
his liquid net worth.
Yeah.
So I mean, he still has
but it wasn't about the percentage of his wealth or whether it was liquid or other assets. I heard that it was anecdotal. That basically he was what amounted is to he's going all in on his call for a massive recession. You don't happen to have any reference on this, do you, Aussie? I meant to look it up earlier.
I mean, I've seen many tweets about, and the problem with Michael Burry is that he'll tweet, and then within a few hours he deletes his tweet.
I've seen this. Yeah.
This is like a very like well-known thing about Michael Burry, and so you almost, if you follow Michael Burry and you want to see what he's saying, you almost have your notifications on so that you automatically so it immediately you see it before he deletes it, type of thing. And so there's multiple people that follow Michael Burry pretty closely that saw a tweet about him putting in large numbers of puts on the NASDAQ and the S&P, with about 90% of his portfolio. So that to me is kind of the very interesting, and it does make it a little bit hard because you don't have a tweet or him or you don't have the blockchain to be able to say he has put on all those puts that all these people are reporting.
What do we know his Twitter handle?
Give me a second.
I'll look it up later. So what is this supposed to mean? How are we supposed to take this?
Well, do we think Bitcoin double bottoms? Do we think we're gonna see lower prices on Bitcoin, ETH, and maybe the entire market? And does this kind of help impact even further prices on Utes, DeGods, Doodles? Because Doodles prices dropped pretty significantly too. I mean, Doodles are sitting at 1.43, but if you look at the analytics over the last 90 days, their floor prices dropped. Give me 2 seconds. It's dropped. I mean, it was at 2.5, 2.6 in June.
So what I'm looking at here, I've been researching this. It's in the first quarter this year, he bought puts on 2 U.S. market indices to the tune of $880 million in one for the S&P 500 and 738 million in another, which is the QQQ. And yeah, that was Q1, and he is just sitting holding. So I guess the news is just breaking on it, I guess, on some of this.
Maybe the news is just breaking on some of this, but the fact is like, I mean, if he's sitting in all these puts and the guy's pretty smart. He seems to have nailed a lot of the last recessions. What does this mean for the market?
He's also a whale, which means, first I want to call out, is he predicting the market or is he making the market? And at that much money with that much reputation, there's a lot set up for a recession, but it seems like he has the swagger to push it over the edge. And so, you know, we opened the episode and I said, is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? Meaning, will we ever know if these are legitimate recessions or are recessions and bull markets all just emotion that are self-fulfilling? That aside, it's looking like it's going to tip.
I think it might tip, but like we talked about, if it does tip, they're going to drop interest rates and start printing in the next 6 months, and that could coincide super nicely with the halving.
That's the question. I mean, I want you guys asked me how Canada's feeling. I mean, we'll talk. I'll mention if you're not in the U.S. and haven't heard of the Richmond North of Richmond, which literally is a song by just a nobody singer who about the struggles of American people, especially the working class, that went viral over the weekend. Like, what do we think? Do we think they're really going to bail out everybody that quickly? And do we not think that there's going to be a lot of pain before then? I don't think those
are mutually exclusive.
Okay.
I think there's always a massive amount of pain. Like, I think life is pain, right? Like, I mean, like when the market is high, that's pain to somebody else. Maybe not Americans, but somebody else. And I did genuinely enjoy this gentleman's song. Joe Rogan shared it. You shared it with us. I forget the name of it, but if you're watching this show, chances are you saw this song or some version of it. And he is resonating with people. But pick any year in the last 100 years and give that guy a banjo and a country stage with someone who's at average or below average American income, and they will go, he's just singing the tune of the ages. And it's like, this is always the problem. This is always the problem. There's never not a problem. One of the great teachers in spirituality said, why care ye for the poor? The poor will always be among you. And it was like, well, that's kind of sadistic. And it's like, we still need to end suffering. We still need to care. You're right. But is it a klaxon of something new? And my view is just, it's not. I mean, and like the hate I got on our space we were with Allison, I was like, hey, big business. It's okay, Sam Altman. I'm in this vein of, this is an always thing. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it resonates, but it resonates in that it will always resonate. There's nothing unique going on.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, but there is always people that are going to have a hard time. But my question is the fact that it's resonating so much indicative of the fact that we are at a point where we're at a tipping point, and that maybe it's resonating more right now because I think there's always a baseline of, there's people that are always going to be kind of teetering that line. That's why there's welfare and there's other social programs and everything like that. But there are times when that gets higher because of various factors. And are we maybe on that one of those times because we're on that tipping point where things are getting a reset?
I think we're talking about it because we're feeling it. We're starting to feel it. And even, I mean, and I think the three of us, relative to much of North America and the rest of the world, are better off than most, right? I think we're starting to feel it, so we're sharing it and talking about it. When there's a bull market and all of our investments are taken off, I guarantee there's a musician singing about the pain and the blight. And you and I might not share it, but a good swath of America is. So I would say there's a level of accuracy to. I would agree with the amount of what you're saying. Yeah, there is a tipping point for us. Sure. What do I think it means for the market? Is it an indicator? Is it like a Warren Buffett indicator that we're there? I think it's an indicator that some part of the society is there, yes. And so, like, for example, my real estate. Jarrett, you shared a tweet about real estate rates. And I am bullish on real estate. So I'm looking at selling one of my properties. I'm bullish on utes. So someone could sell a ute because they're bullish on it. Because it's an investment. Do they have paper hands? Are they upside down? I don't know, but with all other investments, I can in an integrated way say I'm completely bullish. Therefore, I'm selling. Why? I'm timing things. So this guy's song, is it an indicator? Sure, it's an indicator I shouldn't ignore, because fear, there is no intrinsic mechanism that's going to drive us into recession. There is only fear and the passing of virtue signals around fear that will cause people to sell, and we'll get into a death spiral. I don't believe there's a single extrinsic thing that will do that. It will just be the amount of fear. Then we'll hurt long enough and people will feel safe enough, and nothing extrinsically will cause us to go into a bull market. It'll just be that the emotions and the mores of the aggregated society would have been calmed, and they have found their median, and they're feeling, what does the greed indicator say? They're feeling greedy or they're feeling fearful. And I think that's accurately named. I think there's very little extrinsically that is new that is causing any of this. Michael Burry, he's just a big whale. This song, it's just a big whale. And what will happen? It'll be self-fulfilling. So yes, there will be pain. But I only try to pop some of these balloons because people are looking, there's a confirmation bias that there is, the man's got us down. Who's the man today? Oh, it's Biden. Who was the man last time? It was Trump. Who was the man before that? Oh, it was Obama. And there's always this balloon that's the absolute signal. It's a weather balloon. It's the absolute signal. And I just like, nah, something's going to happen. How are your investments? And, what are we getting into next? Maybe Utes is buy low, sell high. Maybe that's where it's at. I think we should actually, Jarrett, think about things more as investments. I think we should not demonize thinking about things as investments, because investing in a community could be its own investment. And how?
Oh, I'm not demonizing it. I'm just saying if you go into it just for a financial investment in NFTs at this point, and then you get hurt and you complain about it, I don't think you have a right to complain. That's all.
I'm 100%. I agree with
That's
that.
all.
Yeah, if I buy and sell like my property and I just do it wrong, but I bitch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I made the call, right? Like,
yeah, this is radical accountability. That's the whole thing with Web3. You're either signing up for it or you're not.
I like that.
But a lot of people don't get that, and I think that that's still the thing. I think you got to know what games you're playing. And yeah, this song is cool, but like Grant said, I think if you play it anytime over the last 100 years, somebody would totally be like, yeah, hell yeah. I think we have new technology now, but like, can you imagine when the radio came out, when the TV came out, when the car started, when electricity happened, when trains were running? People are always going to be fearful. And it goes back to something I said a couple episodes ago, which everyone's just trying to play victim on some level. Yeah. And the people who are aware of it and can suss through it and explore why and deal with those demons, I think that they're better people than just being like, oh, this is holding me back. Right. So unless you are literally in certain parts of this world held down by actual authoritarian regimes with no other answers, if you're in the US and you have Wi-Fi and clean water and you're relatively safe, I'm just kind of like, dude, I tell people all the time when they're like complaining about something, I'm like, let's go live in a village in Guatemala with no electricity and no water. That would probably help out. How would that be? Because then the fact that like your wife got home late and you had to watch the kid for an extra 30 minutes and couldn't go like play video games online. What is that? That's nothing. Right. So we're way over. Okay. I want to just shout out two things. One thing, this is my last time doing probably twice a week for some time.
Oh, yeah.
I start a new job tomorrow. So I want to shout out Jackie Roach, who's going to be hopping on, joining Not Crypto Bros, is hopefully a more permanent installment, which is going to be good.
We'd love that.
And the other thing is that I may be going to the UFC this Saturday. VeChain has invited me to go to the UFC. The UFC is here in Boston, and I met some people at the VeChain. George Payton, I actually met them when we were in Austin for Consensus, and I kind of kept in touch. And I hit him up and said, "Hey, you got an extra ticket?" And I'll be going to UFC on VeChain's dime, repping all their VeChain stuff.
What in the world?
This Saturday, so I'll send pics.
Dude, that's all right.
That's all right.
That's all right. I knew there had to get perks somehow. Yes, I agree. Shout out to Jackie. She'll be here. She'll bring a feminine touch, and then we will legitimately be not Crypto Bros. Georgie says, "What up?" Aussie, any shout outs today, bruv?
You know what? Shout out to Allison for helping organize all of our these new Twitter spaces that we're going to try.
Shout out to Allison. Find us on Twitter Spaces. We're firing it up. No, it's not Crypto Bros, but it's Crypto People talking a little more intelligently. And I think we have a very similar dynamic, but it actually feels a bit more sane with Allison at the helm.
Yeah, well, there's an adult.
There's an adult in the room. Allison,
we're like toddlers running around.
She's a phenomenal host, and her passion to onboard people, folks, is just second to none. So I look forward to that. Good call out, Aussie. Good job. Well, guys, I think that's it. Have a great one. Jarrett, we'll miss you this Friday. Everyone check us out Friday at 10 a.m. Jackie Roach will be with us, and then we'll be back on next week, and I'll be hailing from Great Appalachia. But we'll be on just the same. So we'll be talking to you guys soon.